Well, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Another great day that the Lord has allowed us to see, and we're grateful for the same. Well, welcome to the platform of Project 365. I am Portia Wheatley. I am the founder and the president of a nonprofit organization acknowledged as Trophy of Life Incorporated, where we have the great pleasure of rendering hope, encouragement, and inspiration to the world. Let's welcome my co-host on today.
Hello, everyone. I'm Takara Swan.
And we will introduce our guest momentarily. But again, I just wanted to welcome you to Project 365. Again, this is day 39. We have been consistently coming before you, sharing hope, encouragement, and inspiration for 39 days. And God has been faithful on every single day. And I'm grateful to God for that. Well, before we start, I wanted to share a Monday motivational word from I call him one of my honor sons, Conway Robinson. He shares his word. He's not a camera person, so he supports Project 365 by way of sharing motivational Monday words of encouragement. It says, as we start this week, let's remember that if God be for us, then nothing can be against us. In our lives, there will be some trials, there will be some tough times, adversity, even some haters. But the scriptures give us strong backing, and the devil, give us strong warnings. If we are operating in his will, God tells the enemy to touch not my anointing and do my prophets no harm.
Yes.
If we are putting our trust in him and communicating with him as we go about our days, the scripture declares, no weapon formed against you shall prosper.
Yes.
Now, God never said there wouldn't be a weapon or there wouldn't be a hater. He never said that the attempt would not be made, but to destroy your efforts or even you. But our Creator is very clear that whatever is sent your way will not work. So let's step out on faith and not only remember who we are, but we must remember whose we are. We are the children of the Most High. Conway Robinson, thank you so very much for that. That is wonderful. Thank you for your support. I appreciate it. Well, don't forget to go to YouTube and subscribe to our channel. We're so grateful to God for the opportunity to have a YouTube channel so that those that do not view today, they can come back and view at another time, a midnight hour, early in the morning, in the afternoon, evening, anytime they want to come back and view it, they can do it. Well, today I have the great pleasure I had the great pleasure of welcoming our guest today. This is my biological son and his lovely wife, Tracey. My son's name is Craig. Well, they can introduce themselves. They're old enough, they're big enough, they can do that themselves. But I wanted to thank God for them. And they're going to share with us leading up to Valentine's Day. We just didn't want to wait until then, but with us leading up to Valentine's Day, they're going to share some experiences they have had, and what they can render as far as advice or something that would inspire other couples. I already know there is no perfect marriage, but what they have experienced, I know they can help someone, as well as just share some of the things that they have going on with them. So I am going to release the platform to you. Take it away.
Well, all righty. Well, Mom, Portia, thanks for the invite and having us to share. I'm Craig, my wife Tracey.
Hello.
We could just share our experience. It's not that we're counselors. We're not that we're perfect. We just share what works for us. We've been together.
Get it right. Get it right. Get it right.
I was gonna pull the fingers up. No, we've been together 10 years. Been married 8.
10 years.
Yeah, it's been a journey, and you can't take that right or wrong, but it's been a journey that has kept us together.
Sure.
Yes, we've been through some things, and but at the same time, we've grown from some things.
Yeah.
For us, we we allowed each other to learn one another, not who we are as a title in church, but who we are as a person, because it makes a difference, especially couples that are in ministry. It makes a difference when you wear the hats in ministry, but outside of that, your significant other need to know who you are.
Correct.
And so we've been through some things that taught us that. Um, for me, well, let's go back. We are a blended family. This is our second marriage. So let's get that all out there. So no, yeah, just say it. But we learned it's not, and I want to say it like this: it's not putting nothing on our first marriage. We just learned from it.
Right.
So
Right.
you learn and you move on. Again, we are a blended family, and that by itself is even a task to take on, because with dealing with kids that are not your birth kids is a thing of having them to understand you're not replacing, you're just adding to.
Correct.
So that's part of our story as well. Um, you want to share anything?
Oh, you was doing really well.
So even the, continue on. Ma stated that this is Valentine's week. You know, Sunday is Valentine. For me, I learned from the best, and you don't do Valentine's just because it's February 14th.
Absolutely.
That
Absolutely.
that right there, you done struck out 3, 4, 5 times. I'm
Right.
sorry, but you learn to do Valentine's every day, and I think that's one thing where I can say it has helped us in showing it and expressing. Um, yeah, it has helped, because don't take a particular day to say I love you. Don't take a particular day to show your thanks. Not a particular day. It's every day.
Every
And marriages every day. It's a lifestyle. You can't just think that get comfortable. When you get comfortable, you get stuck. And that's the last thing that you want to do. And I will put it to you like this. In summer hour counseling with Archbishop, one thing he said, it was very important that a lot of times you have to hit the reset button.
Mm-hmm.
And even in marriage, you like a computer, sometimes something mess up, you got to hit a reset button, it starts all over. Just like your significant other, you have to hit that reset button, because if you get comfortable, then upgrades take place. And then what happens when you're not prepared for the upgrade?
All right, upgrade. Yes. Woo.
I know a little something.
Hallelujah.
But yeah, for us, our strongest is communication.
Yeah, that's good.
Because in a marriage, people that marriages can be torn up for the lack of communication, and the other part is finances. And so we've been in a situation where both were rough at one time, but now knowing how to communicate in the roughness. So knowing how to talk to and not at, that's a huge difference. You can share or express how you feel, and your volume doesn't have to be loud. Because for us going through that, the louder you got, the less I heard. And so finding out how to communicate, yeah, it was a growing process, and we're still growing on it. So I say it like that. For us, it's all about fun.
Yeah, gotta have fun.
I'm not a boring person,
Thank God.
and I can't be boring. Fixed face.
Oh.
See, I'm just saying. I'm just looking straight. See, but you have to have the excitement, the enjoyment, because it's not boring. It's all in what you make it. It's all in what you put into it, and it can't be one-sided.
Correct.
You can't expect one to do all the time, and you just sitting there expecting. because that'll wear a person out. That means you're not what's the word, appreciating what is being done or presented to you for you. All right, I'm talking live. Here you go.
I'm enjoying it because he doesn't talk like that. So bless the Lord. You don't have to look away. But I will say that Wheatley and I we've had some hurdles to cross. And where we are now definitely is not where we were like 5 years ago. So we appreciate each other now. And as he forementioned, Valentine's Day, like it's another day for us, but it's also, he shows me that throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the year. It's not just one particular day. And we do a balance thing. You know, I got your back, he has my back. I may, iron his clothes for the week or whatever because he works 12-hour days and he doesn't have to worry about anything like that. Or he may buy me a pair of earrings or something small, and not. How about just vacuum and clean up the house? Some of those things that don't really cost money, but you know that your significant other, your spouse, my husband, appreciates those type of things. Coming home and dinner be fixed, cookies are in the oven, just little things that he likes to show, you know what, I appreciate you working 12 hours a day. It's cold as ice outside, it's snow on the ground, and you are out there doing that to make sure that we are good. I work from home all day, so there's no reason why there should not be that balance there.
Right.
As Craig had said, like when we first started, we were in a relationship for like a year, for a year. And like, sorry, Mom, but you didn't even know. Pop did. Pop knew.
I'm always the last to know.
Well, Pop knew, and we had like some good conversations with him for our first year before we even were married. And we had a lot of talks with him and a lot of counseling sessions with him. And like nobody really knew that we were together. And he kind of like put the icing on it for us, to kind of make it, I'm coming from a different background, Wheatley's from a different background, we're bringing in children, so he kind of put a different twist on that for us. And I appreciated that. And then after we first got married, like the first 3 to 5 years was pure, can't say that on TV. It was hard.
Was it hell?
Yeah, I was gonna say that. It was pure hell for the first 3 to 5 years. And it was because of the fact that we didn't understand each other and we didn't appreciate who we had in each other. So we had to cross that hurdle. Like I had to appreciate Craig Wheatley and not the musician. He had to appreciate Tracey Wheatley and not the minister at church. So we had to understand who we are to each other when we come home and shut our door. And I think we lost that. And then it took us a minute to get back on that track. And then when we finally got to that place, different things would happen, like with finance. Like I was sick for 2 years and I didn't work. He worked. And we didn't know if I was even going to make my birthday or not, because that's how sick I was. And my husband did it all being a musician. And so that right there, those 2 years that I did not work, put us in it was a hard place for us. And I won't say we lost much, but we were at an even keel. But the one thing that we did have, we lived in an apartment at that time. The one thing that we did have is we had each other. We had our relationship. Yes. We laughed about stuff that wasn't even funny, and we talked and we communicated to get through it. And I think me being sick really brought us closer together at that time, because we didn't know if the doctors kept saying that, there was stuff wrong. I had lesions on my brain and stuff, but we wasn't even sure how, or even if I was going to make it.
Right.
So with that, I said we lost a lot of things. We were in an apartment. We didn't have transportation or cars or anything. And then we finally got to a point where we borrowed Conway's car for 4 months. And we moved from our apartment to where we are now, our bigger house. Thank the Lord Jesus. And in that time, from June to September, the Lord blessed us with 2 cars. And when I was telling someone a testimony, they're like, well, you should have said that to me. I could have been praying and you could have had a car sooner. It wasn't your prayer. that's something we had to pray and believe God to do that, to bring us out. But now I can sit here and say, not only did he bless us with the cars and the bigger house and all of that, but we have jobs that pay us more now than we've ever been paid. And we're able to make it as a family, not trying to figure out where stuff is going to come from. Now, is it easy? No, it's not easy, because we still have to prioritize.
Right.
We want to make sure that we're not just taking our money, but we're doing our time. We're putting paying tribute because we support Project 365. We support Trophy of Life. We support the homeless, while I'm still taking care of my father who's sick and other family members that, need us in this area. So I say all that, share all that to say, it may not look like you can overcome in the beginning, but trust me, you can overcome if you're willing to put in the work, as he said, and you're willing to love on each other even in the hard times, because I think that's the most important thing. It's easy to love him when we have all our bills paid and I don't want anything from you. He doesn't want anything from me as far as financials. But when the bills are not paid, can you really still love that significant other and not point fingers at each other? Yeah, that's a hard place.
Yeah.
But even in that, we never missed our assignment at church. We were always present. We were doing what the Lord had called us to do, and we were doing it happy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think now being at Kingdom is truly a blessing for us, because we learn from our pastors. We learn from the spiritual advisors of Kingdom Worship Center, meaning Archbishop and Lady D. Hilarious. She is hilarious. Hilarious.
Love her.
But we learn from them. And one of the things that Archbishop had said to us in a counseling session one time is he and Lady D were on a trip, and they went to the beach. And Lady D had a pebble in her shoe, and she kept walking on it, and it was irritating her shoe. But it wasn't until she took her shoe off and got the pebble out that she was able to go back to walking normally. And what that meant was, there are pebbles that can be in a relationship, but until you stop to iron out and get the pebble out of the relationship, then and only then are you able to move forward. When you stop carrying people that don't really want any more than where they are, that's a pebble. When you are carrying people that don't want to succeed in life, and they're good with the woe is me and not trusting that God is, that's a pebble. So when you begin to shake those people off and shake them off, and we pray for each other and our family, then we know that we're moving in the right direction, because we don't have that stuff holding us back any longer. Okay.
Yeah. All of that she said. One thing that I did want to share, the fact of a lot of times, well, foremost, put God first.
Absolutely.
You have to put him first. But one thing that I've realized and come to know, that in trying to do the right thing for your spouse, it's not always directed at them. God may say, go outside, sweep the curb off. You go do that, and then something happens where she's happy. Listening to his direction versus trying to do your own and do between one another. He may say, do this, and the benefit of that is something that benefits your marriage. Mm-hmm. So you have to know to hear him. Mm-hmm. And it's not, and how can I say this? Yes, you have to hear your spouse, but most importantly, you got to hear God.
Absolutely.
Because everything come out your spouse's mouth is not always what God wants.
Absolutely.
So you have to be in tune with him to hear what's the next step, what's the next move. And one thing I appreciate about my father, in my younger years, I never understand, Pop, like I go to God about everything. I'm like, for what? It's just little stuff. Mm-hmm. Now, I understand that thing more than ever. Go to him about everything.
Everything.
It makes a difference. Go to him about everything. It clearly makes a difference. But again, putting him first. You put him first, then it's going to trickle down.
Mhm.
It's definitely going to trickle down.
Mhm.
And the benefit of it is you'll reap his blessings because you obeyed him. Your spouse will fall in line because you obeyed him.
Absolutely.
So true.
And that's
Absolutely.
very important there. If
Absolutely.
that relationship has to be very tight. Your relationship with God as well as the spouses in your relationship, so that both of y'all can hear from God. But also the way he has a design being head of a house is very important. I gotta stay into it.
Mhm.
I have to.
Have to.
Is that's just what it is. But make sure that you hear him to fulfill the assignment that he has for you.
Mhm.
And it works.
It does work. And when it doesn't work, when you have a female that's a strong female that also hears from God, it's hard to follow a parked car. So when you know that your husband is laying before the Lord and trying to figure and hearing the Lord and figuring out strategies and making plans for your family, then you know that that is from God. And you know, as long as you're in prayer and you're praying for your spouse, women, I'm talking to women right now, they're the head. We pray for them. We support them. And we hear the Lord, yes, absolutely. But it also has to be in tune to what the Lord is saying to our husband, because our desire may not be God's desire. And he will show that to our husband if we're walking hand in hand. And with that, schedule a plan. We have a 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, 10-year plan. Make a plan for where you see your family going, and then check it off as you go so that you can say, you know what, we accomplished this. This is ours. This is what we did. We has nothing to do with me individually, nothing to do with my husband individually, but we did this together. And this is what we're striving to do. That makes a big difference.
And just to piggyback off of that, and again, you're just sharing stuff that we've been through, just being transparent. So wives, um, if a goal hasn't been reached, don't come at them.
Right.
You know, why we didn't meet that goal? No, that's not the way.
It's not.
Reset. If you're in that together, find a way of communicating to reach that goal. But don't make it seem like he didn't do it. What was your part in it?
Right.
You know, so.
And reset. Push it out to the next year if you need to, but reset it so that the main thing is that you're doing it together. Mm-hmm. That's the main thing. We have a date night for just he and I. We don't want to talk to anybody else, just the two of us, because he's gone during the day. I'm at home during the day. I'm indeed a morning person. I wake up wanting to talk and jump up and down and
on a high pitch. Bring it down.
Yes. And like soon as I open up my eyes and I'm like excited and I'm like, hey, wait, good morning. Bless the Lord. What do you want to do? He's like, give me a minute.
That's so true. That is so true.
But it's so, but anyway, it's bad. I am a true morning person, but he's a true night person. 9 o'clock, I'm in the bed. I don't care what's going on. If your face is not on fire, I don't want to see you. Good night. So he's up at night. So we had to have that time where it's our time. Mm-hmm. I sacrifice Friday nights and I stay up. On Mondays, I wake up and I try to keep him at a low minimum because he's off. But after he wakes up, it's like, hey!
No, but at least you understand each other. You understand each other. You know what works for you. What works for one couple may not work for another couple. So don't look over the fence and say they're doing this or they're doing that, because there's differences there. There's differences there. So when you have a relationship, and matter of fact, let me go back. You have to turn the volume down for other people, and hear each other. Like I said, you can see other people doing whatever, but that may not work for you. So those that have a marriage, that are married, and you're looking at other couples of what they're doing, no, turn the light and lamp back onto yourself so that you come together and find out what he likes, what she likes, and what works together. And then that way you can work it out. And then those other people be looking at you. How did you do that?
Right.
So we just wanted to share some hope, encouragement, and inspiration to married couples. Hang in there.
Absolutely.
There is no perfect marriage. There is no
None.
perfect marriage. And I tell you what, when you do that and you put God first, oh my God, let me go here. Even those where a man may be looking at another woman or a woman looking at another man, when you put God on that situation, you'll be the best. You don't, right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Here's the thing with growth, Mom. One thing, even in a situation like that, you still have enough God in you to be the spouse you're supposed to be in the situation. Because when something gets ugly or wrong, the spouse pulls back. So being in a situation like that, allowing God to take the head and you still being who you're supposed to be and let God do the work.
Change.
Right. We're not saying it's going to be easy.
No.
But it's doable.
Right. And there's a cost, even for what you were saying, there's a cost for every relationship. The question is, how much are you willing to pay for what you have? Pay, not meaning money wise, but time. Yeah. How much time are you willing to put in it? There's an oil on every relationship, and there's a cost for that oil being in the relationship. So looking at someone else, you don't know what it costs them to get to where they are. You don't know what it costs them to be in the relationship that they have now, where they can look at each other, laugh and smile and keep on going. And they had a whole conversation with each other without even opening up their mouths. And you're looking at like, what just happened? Yeah. So there's a cost for that.
Let me put this out there. And we're not actually just talking about, we're not talking about, let's see, the physical abuse of a marriage, in a marriage.
Right.
Yeah, that's a whole complete different Project 365 topic. So we're talking about those that want to be in it, stay in it, and put God first and all of that. But even in that, even on that topic, we're going to bring that topic before you and share that to see what God can do even in a situation like that. So again, thank you. You have some, look, you got some more to share real quick?
I'm good. As Dad say, I'm done.
You already know, don't get me started on your father. Good man, good father. Yeah, indeed. I love that going Craig and Wheatley.
Good seed.
Good girl. Good girl.
Listen, I'm grateful. And when somebody had said something to me the other day and said, well, you can speak for your husband. And I want to say this to the women. And I said to them, I don't speak for him, but I can represent him in a conversation, but I could never speak for him. Yeah. He's his own person. Exactly. He has his own mind. And I can't speak for him, but I can represent him being his wife. So let's know our boundaries. Let's know who we are and not try to be who they are or who we want them to be to us.
That's good. I like that. Last but not least, after this statement, Takira, you got it. Because when we talk about this, I can go. Dog, my thought is gone. See?
It's going to come back.
It'll come back.
It was talking about, your role in the church and the role at home, whether it's the husband or the wife. I said to someone the other day, even when you're in the church and you have a title and you have roles, you have a position, don't be so attached to the church that you're doing so much at the church and you're leaving or you're lacking your responsibilities at home, because down the road it will be you and the church and no spouse.
That's right.
Let me tell you that. We can love what we do.
Yes.
And then there's a situation where you have, when I say you, just people with titles in general, they're well respected in the church.
Yeah.
But when they get home, they're not respected at all. So of course we have to have balance.
Yes.
I love my church. I love my church. I love my leaders, and they also respect family. So I appreciate that. And they don't just talk about it. They are all about it.
Yeah.
They live it. Yes. All right. Thank you again. I appreciate it. Let's see what Takira has to say.
Well, hey guys.
Hey.
Do we have time for some questions? Just a couple of questions. I just have a general question at first. So can you both tell me, let's see, how can I put this? Like, what made you say, okay, Tracey, this is the one? And Tracey, like, what did make you say, Craig, yep, he's the one I'm supposed to be with? Like, what made you guys come together?
That's funny.
Hilarious.
Because we both told each other we weren't getting married again.
Absolutely, we did.
We told each other
Really?
to the face.
Yeah.
We're doing this again. And but yeah, I think the biggest thing was that her favorite is that 6-hour conversation at Waffle House.
Woo!
Like, I don't do that much talking.
Listen, if anybody knows my husband, he does not
Right.
talk like that. It was 6 hours and it was cold in Waffle House.
And drinking so much coffee, I'm like, this don't even make no sense. But I think that's when it was the icebreaker of knowing one another outside of the church, outside the title, and just knowing who we were. So that for me.
Yeah, that absolutely was it. It was really the icebreaker for us because when we left there, he went his separate way, I went my way. And for me, I was like, that's different. Where'd that come from?
Mm-hmm.
And like, he just dropped everything, like everything from A to Z. And I'm like, really? Then I said, do you want to do that? But I'm always up for a good challenge. And so.
Oh, boy.
But after the conversation and him talking and just dropping little things like we would see each other or something and he had Rosa sitting on the seat. And I'm like, well, who does that? He opens the door for me. I was like, where do they do that at? But not only did he start that, he still does those things.
Yes.
And I think that is what's important to me because I go back and reflect and say, oh, you're still doing this. So it's the gentleman in him that really does make a difference in our marriage. And so him being himself and not being the minister of music is really what attracted me to him.
Awesome. I think that's a really great point because a lot of times I've noticed, I'm not married, for anyone who does not know me, and I have not been married, but I've been watching married couples for a long time, so I know quite a lot. So one thing I've noticed, especially in ministry or in churches or wherever your religious practice is, for whoever's watching, if you have someone who's active in ministry or someone who's popular, and you might be drawn to that, like, oh, like I really like him, and I really like her, she does this and this and that, but they don't take account into who the person really is, because when that person is serving, yes, they're who they are, but God is using them, so you see that God through them, and that's what you're attracted to. So are you going to want the person who, when you go home, farts in their sleep, or who smacks really loud, or like the little, I'm serious, like the little,
but it's true, that's real.
Nerves? Because I've seen quite a few couples who I thought were like power couples, like, oh, they're so cute together, they're so great, but you never know what's going on behind closed doors.
That's right.
And they've separated over the smallest things, and I'm like, okay, so it was a disconnect in the beginning there, in my opinion, because if you really are supposed to be with someone and God has ordained that relationship to be together, you can't let something so small as, oh my gosh, do you know he farts in his sleep, like, that you get a divorce? Like, come on.
Yeah.
Right. And see, that's one of the things. That's one of the things that I said to Wheatley, because he is a musician and he's been playing for years, since like 15. Like, people want to throw themselves on him, but I wasn't attracted to his music. Now, don't get me wrong. He can change the atmosphere and make some keys sing. Don't get me wrong about that. But I wasn't attracted to that. And I would say to him, I want to know you, Craig Wheatley, not the musician. Everybody else already knows the musician. I don't want that person. So I think that was really a difference for us. And he plays now at home, like he was playing this morning. I love it. I love it. But I love him and not his gift. So when I'm at church, I'm Dr. Wheatley, and I'm good with that. But when I come home, I'm Tracey Wheatley, Craig's wife, and I'm good with that. So we had to have that conversation in the beginning. We had to, and we had to understand his calling and my calling and us bringing them together to make them work.
That's good.
That's really, really good. So I just want to reiterate some key points you guys said, because I know a lot of times, especially with couples that are, you guys are one of my favorite couples, by the way, but especially with couples that are like your faves, or like if you know them, you're like, oh, that's so cute. You may not remember all the key things they said that makes a marriage work. So number one, when you were talking, consistency is number one. Not number one in these orders, just listen. So hearing the person, not really communicating out of emotion, but like talking with the person, talking with them, talking to them, and not at them, not pointing the finger, making a plan, always keeping a spark, having date night, even if you've been together for 10 years. A lot of couples don't do that anymore. They've lost their spark. And like you said, now you're looking for an upgrade. And I think we were talking, Miss Portia, the other day, and I was saying, how people like, oh, the grass is greener on the other side. And I'm like, no, the greener grass is the grass that's been watered. The grass has been cared for. And your grass can be just as greener, even greener, but you don't want to put the work in. So a lot of people go to that greener grass and they're like, well, my grass over here is dying. It's not as green as it was when I was looking over there. Well, you didn't put the work in. So marriage takes work. Seriously, marriage takes work. And one other thing I really I like the blended family. You guys are a really strong blended family. I'm in a blended family, so I definitely appreciate that. Nothing is perfect. And for all the single people out there, your idea of what's perfect in a marriage is not what it's going to be. But marriage can be a beautiful thing that I've witnessed. And it can be a great addition to your life if you let it. But if you come into a marriage with the wrong things in mind, or the wrong expectations, or even the wrong intentions, it will become a hindrance rather than something that's added to your life. The last thing I liked that you said, and you didn't talk about counseling, but you just had mentioned, oh, when we were in counseling, I think counseling is so important in any relationship. Just to be able to talk or vent and get advice in an atmosphere that's non-judgmental and have like an unbiased opinion. I think that's really good. Even if you have a healthy, wonderful marriage and you think nothing is wrong, I think just having one counseling session every now and then will be really beneficial to you. So that's all I have to say.
It really is beneficial, but you have to be sure that you're doing it with the right one.
Yes. And that goes to discernment. Like if you two can't, not you two, but if a couple
she's going on discernment.
Because if a couple can't discern, if someone's good enough to talk to a counsel, then you have to like kind of reevaluate the whole situation. Like, well, who's in our marriage that shouldn't be? You have to let discernment lead the relationship, and that goes to putting God first, because like you said, God will tell you to do things. You're like, oh, that made her happy. I didn't know that made her happy. Always go to God first, because at the end of the day, God made your spouse. God knows the in and outs of her, things that you will never know. God knows, or him. I'm just saying her. But so go to God like, hey, what, God, like, what was she like? Or Holy Spirit, tell me, like, what should I do to make this right? And and the Holy Spirit will tell you. So that's just my opinion. But thank you so much for being on our broadcast today. I love you both. So
we love you.
Love you too.
Yes. It's just so wonderful to have that information shared to other couples. Messages of hope, encouragement, and inspiration. Of course, we always say share it. Don't forget to go to our YouTube channel and subscribe so that you will know when we bring messages to you. Don't forget, I said that there is no topic that is off limits. So we're going to bring you some interesting topics, and it will be coming from real people with real experience, so that we can all be encouraged. This is a time where we all need some type of encouragement or need to be inspired. So one way or the other, we're going to get the message, and we're going to get the message out to the world. All right.
Absolutely.
Thanks again, everyone. I love and adore you. I bless the Lord for you. And we will see you on tomorrow.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.